G'day. We'll be looking at the 6 elements of a short story. They're listed here: plot, characters, setting, tone, point of view, and theme. You may want to print off the notes that go with this section and just make little handwritten notes on the side of it as you're going along. Right? You can stop this video at any time so that you can get a better sense of what's going on and review at any point. So you can back it up, you can go through it in a number of ways. This is a little longer video than what we normally do, but I wanted to cover all 6 items. Right? So what we'll do is we'll head into this. So there's 6 elements of a short story. So one of the things we want to look at, of course, is what is a short story? So a short story is usually 300 to 4,000 words, so 1 to 15 pages, and it's considered something you could sit down and read in one sitting. Right? You may break it into a couple, but normally you would just say we can do this in one sitting. The short story covers one item, one incident or situation. Usually has a few characters in it, not too many. There's some kind of conflict between 2 opposing forces, which we'll talk more about in a minute. There's a climax which comes from the conflict situation, and then there may be a twist at the end of the story, right? And the story is meant to appeal to the emotions. So the emotions will get us involved, engaged in what's within that story. So remember the 6 elements, and you may want to write these down and make sure that you have these, are plot, character, setting, tone, point of view, and theme. We'll go through them in this order, although you may be working on questions within the course that pick on any one of these or many of these. Right? First off is the plot. That's the events that are going on in the story. Right? They're developed and resolved. Okay, the conflict is developed and resolved. Problems happen and they're solved. So there's a conflict and then something happens. Usually it's in chronological order. Chronological means order in time. Right? It includes what happens, how it happens, sequence of events. So our plot is pretty straightforward: what happens, how it happens, and the sequence of events. Right? A visual showing how the plot develops. The exposition is the beginning of the short story. Introduction of the characters, the setting, and the situation. The initial incident is the first sign where conflict is starting to occur. The rising accident, the incidents, or the crisis that developed the conflict. Climax is where it's the height of the conflict. It's kind of where the suspense is in the story. This is where you're kind of going, whoa, what's going to happen? And then the falling action is leading to the end of the conflict. And then the denouement, or resolution, is when the conflict ends. So you may want to draw this diagram on a piece of paper so that you have it to look back on at any point in time. Some of these special techniques of plot to create engagement, and you might even think back when you're watching a TV show or a movie. They do a number of these items as well, these techniques. So foreshadowing is kind of a hint of something to come, right? So they may hint about what will be happening. A flashback, well, we all know what a flashback is. It kind of pops in the middle and it goes back and it gives you more information about something that has happened in the past. There may be a surprise ending, a conclusion that the reader does not expect. And suspense, right? Another technique is that suspense. They build the excitement, or they build the tension within the story as they're doing the story. Right? So we talked about that there's a conflict that builds, comes up to the climax, and then it gets resolved. So it's a struggle between 2 opposing forces. And it may not be just between 2 people, it may be between the main character and something else. And we'll go into that more. Every plot must contain some kind of conflict, otherwise there's really no story. Okay, it would just be kind of Yes, and they just went on and on and on and on, and there's nothing going on. Now, there could be more than one conflict, and it could be external or internal. External meaning outside. Notice the word external comes from, or the similar base word as exit, so that means outside, which is an outside force, maybe a person, a group, an animal, nature, or some non-human obstacle. So it's something outside of the person. The internal conflict, you'll notice the IN at the beginning meaning in, so inside, takes place in the character's mind. So this is where they have a conflict with what's going on in their head. The kinds of conflict, here you'll notice they're broken into external and internal. External is the leading character struggles against other characters. So if you think about it, may be a short story about a person and they have conflict with another person. Man versus ideal, the leading character struggles against ideas, beliefs, or customs. Right? The third one is the leading character struggles with himself, deciding what to do or to think. The fourth one is the person versus nature. The leading character struggles against the elements of nature. So this could be the leading character is in a snowstorm. So nature is the snowstorm. Right? We'll take a break at the end, right now at the end of plot, because we don't want this video to go too long, and then we'll resume with characters a little bit later on.